Hush Up, Sweet Charlotte had its theatrical premiere on October 28, 2015 at the spectacular Castro Theater to a sold-out event.
Get your feet on the floor, take a step through that door and go crazy. Paint the town, wear something fancy, get low down, be gallivancy, you lose that frown. Before you know it, roll off the bed, you can sleep when you're dead. Until then, lose your head and go crazy.
This was incredibly wild for me, because just 1 year before, on October 29th, 2014, we started production on this little classic retelling of Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. The 7 Academy Award-nominated film starring Bette Davis, Olivia de Havilland, Agnes Moorehead, Joseph Cotten, Mary Astor, and Bruce Stern. Now, this film did not come into fruition without its own sordid backstory. Joan Crawford was set to play the co-lead as she did in the very successful film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. But due to differences, Olivia de Havilland came in and took the role.
Drive on.
But what happened to the other lady?
She forgot something. She decided not to come. She's got a headache. One of those excuses would do.
Hush up, sweet Charlotte. Charlotte, don't you sigh.
This was my baby. This was one of my babies, you know. After I did Baby Jane a few years ago, and it's coming out of like something that I didn't think I would ever possibly do, because I'd actually, my passion was to do this film about Elizabeth Montgomery, who I was her hair and makeup artist for many years. And she had passed away, and it devastated me. And I wrote a book about it called Everything's Gonna Be Just Fine, The Ramblings of a Mad Hairdresser. And then I decided, you know, I wanted to do something further with it, and I wanted to make a feature film about it. And I really did some deep soul searching that I wanted to become a director, and that I better do it. I better do it now. So I went trying to make this film, Everything's Going to Be Just Fine. And we got to a point where we had 75% of the financing, major actors were attached, and when everything collapsed, of course it collapsed like so many other projects that were out there. And I sat there and I looked and I says, yeah, but what do I got? What ideas do I have? After I saw Matthew Martin in Christmas with the Crawfords about a year before, I'd always thought, what a crazy idea would be to take Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and do it kind of at a parody, but real and very different than anything anybody else has seen before. Well, at that point, I said, you know, maybe it's not so crazy. I bet you that here in San Francisco, because that's where I was at the time, I could get the money together and I could create this. And you know what? I did. I can't even tell you how little I made that film on. But I made it. And I remember when it came out, and it premiered actually at the Castro Theater. It was sold out as well. And I went, maybe I'm not too bad at this. And then the reviews started coming out, Variety and Fangoria and so many different things. And I thought, God, have I paid these people? It gave me the confidence to continue on. I had been told by a major director that the smartest thing to do if you wanted to start off is to find a niche and kick ass with it. So that's what I decided to do.
My dear friend Jason Stewart introduced me to Billy Clift a few years ago, and I think we were all at a screening, and I gravitated towards my friend Jason Stewart, who was already seated, and there was one seat available or left in the screening, and it was right next to Billy Clift. And Billy and I just hit it off. I realized somehow his talent. I knew that I wanted to be around that talent and to see what was next for him. Sure enough, he brought me Hush Up, Sweet Charlotte. I had seen Baby Jane, loved it, and I was thrilled with the opportunity that he and I would get to work on this film together.
I loved working with Billy mainly because it was not what I expected, because he wanted to make the movie scary at times, and he wanted most of all to make the film have some poignant moments to show why Melanie was such a monster. And that's always, you know, an amazing treat for an actor, especially one that, you know, I sort of built a career on eating cheese whiz while yodeling opera arias. So which doesn't have a lot of depth.
Please do sit down. I'm sure you're quite pleased that I gave you permission.
So this is a guy that you meet 4 or 5 years ago that comes over to you in a movie and tells you how talented you are and how great you are and how much they want to work with you. Now this happens all the time in the biz, and most of the time people don't come up. Not they don't want to, I'm sure that they have the best of intentions. Billy was on the phone, you know, engaging, asking, questioning, inviting. If he could just get me a husband, you know, he'd be my very best friend forever. What I really was moved by is that there was a lot of permission on the set to experiment and take some risks. And with a low-budget film, you know, time is money, so you got to keep everything going.
There is something going on there that is really bad. It's really bad, I tell you.
I got to tell you, I have been a fan of Mink Stole since Hairspray, and I didn't know her other than we had been in a documentary together about Divine, about people who have crazy moms. What I really got is that Mink Stole is so much more than just Mink Stole.
She actually studied Agnes's performance in the movie, and she brings not only Agnes's work to the production, but she brings Mink's own essence in there. So we really get the combination of two of these wonderful actresses.
Mink Stole was an idol of mine. I mean, my God, I grew up seeing Pink Flamingos at the Newark. This is the most insane movie I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. That time is when I said, that's what I wanted to be. And I suppressed that. Mink Stole, on set, gracious, kind. Mind you, I mean, though, with someone who's been around for so long, who doesn't know you at all, because they're sizing you up as soon as they come. They're just watching you come into the space, and they're watching how you behave. They're watching how you are as a director. So I'm always aware when they finally go, oh, they actually know what they're doing. I can relax now.
One of the first things I did when I got the film is call on my friends and tell them that I was going to be able to kill Mink Stole, which, how many people can say that? I was obsessed with Mink Stole since college when I first saw my very first John Waters film, which was one of the reasons why I even did drag. I was a big Divine fan, and of course I tried to be just like her at first, but then realized that what I did was totally different. But to get to be in a room with her and to knock her down a flight of stairs with my tits, really a crowning moment in my career.
So one of the most exciting things was to be able to be in a film with these two iconic drag personalities. And I say they are actors playing roles. Not to defer to any of the other great drag personalities, but Varla Jean Merman plays two roles in the films. She plays the Olivia de Havilland role, Melanie/Mildred, and she also plays Stan, the construction worker. And working in a scene with him was just like, I was talking to the producer and actor David Milburn, and I was saying that it was like driving up a hill on a bike, and you had to keep going, and you had to keep going with her, because she's like in a musical, and I was really afraid that I couldn't do it, but she was so supportive and so wonderful. And I even at one point said to the director, Billy, can we please just stop a second? I know I can do this better. And he let me do it. And then working with Matthew Martin, who is the premier Bette Davis impersonator all over San Francisco. Everybody knows him. I was scared shit. Can we say shit on this show, or are you going to beat me? Because I thought, this guy knows what he's doing, and I didn't want to get in his way. And there were moments when Matthew would go, darling, do you think you could just do it this way, just a touch? I said, yes, darling, I can. And then, of course, I forgot the line when he said that.
I got a sense very quickly that these were actors who happened to have developed over the course of their careers these wonderful personas or specific characters to play these women. I think Varla Jean, one of her best performances. I think that Matthew Martin is stepping up his game like nobody's business. He's incredible.
How are you doing this fine morning? Might I say you're looking mighty pretty.
Get out, Sheriff Luke!
Jeffrey Patrick Olson, just a wonderful guy, is also playing our Sheriff Luke, who you might see in the credits. It's Luke Skywalker. We didn't use the name. You couldn't hear it in anything that they said, but it made me laugh. He plays the sheriff charming, sweet, maybe a little bit naive, but he's delightful. And what a delightful man to work with. Jeffrey is just a dear and has become a good friend of mine. He and Jason Stewart just made a wonderful duo, because the reality is they worked together. They were a team. And it was so much fun to see that unfold.
I love Jason. We actually bonded a lot. You know, we drove up to San Francisco from Los Angeles, and we actually slept together. I mean, in the same place, a couple times. Great to work with, and really likes to dissect things and play. The sheriff is he's the guy who likes to keep things status quo, not rock the boat, and he's had really no impetus to investigate any further this age-old problem. And now he's sort of spurned on by this outsider, Mr. Wills, who comes in, and I think his competitive nature starts to come into play, and he gets inspired to help solve what may be a little mystery.
So I work with Mark Sargent, who is known in San Francisco as the Ethel Merman Experience. Just completely went for it and made me step up my game. It was one of my first days working, so I had to step up my game and know what it was like to be in a parody film, because I'd never done a parody film before. And somebody who just had no ego and no worries about how he was going to look or what he was going to do, and he was fearless. I got to tell you, there were times when I just was biting my tongue so much because I was laughing so hard. And when you see me fall off the chair in the movie, that really happened. That just happened because we were fighting over that Will so badly.
Jesse Pepe was a wonderful actor who was suggested by the wonderful David Milburn and Christopher Donaldson, our casting director at Here Media. And he was one of the wonderful people to come audition for John Mayhem, which is actually a really crucial role in it. He had to have the right vulnerability and kind of being a little bit of a twit too at the same time. And he came in and he just stole it. I mean, we had quite a few people come in, and it was just obvious. Incredibly easy to direct. Nailed it instantly, and just by a little description really just knew exactly what I wanted from him. And of course the poor guy gets killed.
John kind of sets up Charlotte's entire downfall. He kind of, you know, represents the life that she could have had that was cut short, that's going to haunt her for the rest of her life. So it starts off in a very, very tragic sort of way, like all good movies do, right?
Jewel was here last night.
Last night?
Last night.
Right here?
Right here.
Right here?
Right here in that chair.
This chair?
That chair.
This chair?
That chair.
Mike Finn plays Big Daddy, Charlotte's father, and I wanted him to play the part for two reasons. One, because he's a really brilliant actor, and he was in My Baby Jane, and he played the part of Edwin. And in the original Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, the same actor who played Edwin, Victor Bruno, played Charlotte's father. So I just felt that it would be a fun nod to the original. So that's what we did, and we're very happy with the outcome. We wanted to sprinkle the film with some RuPaul's Drag Race performers.
Miss Charlotte Holler?
Yes.
The Miss Charlotte Holler?
Yes.
Honey Mahogany, another RuPaul's Drag Race performers. My sister, Elizabeth Clift, which I'll throw her in everything that I do because I believe in nepotism. And a wonderful performer named Evan Johnson.
Dark, piercing brown eyes.
Also in the pit crew of RuPaul's Drag Race, and he's one of the hunks who wears practically nothing, and I don't know exactly what he does except stand there and be pretty.
Did you hear about Jewel Mayhem?
I heard that she is having a scandalous affair.
The film also was sprinkled with some amazing San Francisco talent.
But what if I get caught?
Then you tell her you're John Mayhem and you come back to take your music box. Now get!
People that I've used before, some in Baby Jane, and some that I've always wanted to use.
Katya Smirnovskaya, our wonderful Blanche in Baby Jane, who's also our Joan Crawford here in Hush Up, Sweet Charlotte. The wonderful drag superstar Heclina and Prince Herman, plus Matthew Florence.
It's always so difficult to tell you two apart, except for...
The composer in this picture is Mink Stole, who has just done a wonderful job. Billy and I wanted a score that would amp up the thriller. The murders, going on. So we said, Nick, go for it. He came up with this theme. It comes in, it sneaks in, and it grabs you. You hear boom, 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 boom.
Charlotte, what was all the commotion?
You think, oh my God, this is a composer, this is a score, amping up the drama and accentuating this excellent film.
Tom Shaw wrote the wonderful song Go Crazy in the 1920s scene. He also, along with the Tom Shaw Trio, performed in it as well.
Hush up, sweet Charlotte. Charlotte, don't you sigh.
So Mark Sargent wrote the theme song, which was done 3 times. David Milburn doing one, and the nice creepy in the center of the film.
You know I'll always love you. The day I die.
Hush up, sweet Charlotte. That's a long, long time.
And then we have the phenomenal Linda Kay in her big old flip and her gold lame suit, singing it so seductively at the end. And it was so much fun to see the people who were about to get up at the end of the film, and all of a sudden they stop and they see her up there singing the song, and it's so hypnotic, very kind of James Bond-esque, has that kind of tone, and they all sat down.
Forever, forever and a day.
And we've made it this fast-paced, wonderful thriller / horror film / camp / touching film about the idea that no one gets to live at the end.
I think in a way that we've taken a classic film that was nominated for 7 Oscars back in the day, and we've stepped up the game, and we've created a parody with different levels, but we've really created another classic. So Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte was a classic. I believe that years from now we'll be looking at Hush Up Sweet Charlotte as yet another classic.
Didn't I do that?
The slap comes from here, so her head would have to go here.
Isn't that what I did?
Oh, you went this.
Damn you all. Wimp.
Yeah, it works for me.
Good?
It's fine. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me know what you're looking at.
Yeah.